where learning never stops.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Ma'am Nancy.
Good afternoon, Ma'am Ja. Good afternoon, Sir Nick.
Yes, good afternoon as well to our principal, Sir Kenneth, and sa aming OIC, sa department head, Ma'am Mavic De Vera, as well as sa mga science teachers, and especially sa mga grade 9 science teachers with Ma'am, good afternoon to Ma'am Mean, Ma'am Ana, and Ma'am Lovely, including si Ma'am Head Gofredo na nakasama natin last week, as well as si Ma'am Sally Viterbo. Okay, so good afternoon, grade 9 students. We hope na you are excited for our lesson this week kasi ito na ang ating last synchronous class. And of course, no, kita naman sa ating screen, kasama natin ang aming ever pretty Ma'am Nancy Centeno. Pabati nga po Ma'am Nancy yung mga students.
Yan. Kamusta dun sa mga hawak ko na mga MBL students? Ang aking advisory class na 9 Lakal, aking mga iba pang hawak katulad ng 9 Tangile, 9 Talisay, 9 Nara, 9 Sampaloc, at ang pinaka-addition na latest, ang 9 Log.
Yes. So hopefully naka-tune in ang ating mga students, or kung hindi naman, ito ay available sa aming YouTube channel. You can still watch the replay. So yan, kumustahin natin Ma'am Nance ang ating mga students. So ito po ang inyong mga emoticon na pwedeng i-comment sa ating live chat. Anong options po nila Ma'am Nance?
Ayan. Piliin ang emoticon if you are happy today, feeling excited dahil last na ating video ngayon for the second quarter.
Third quarter.
Tama
yan, third quarter. Kasi distribution tayo ngayon ng card ng second quarter. Okay, next po.
Feeling accomplished. Ayan. Kahit next, susunod pa ang pasahan ng week 5 to 8, may mga masasabing tapos na sila sa kanilang task. Ayan. Feeling love, at huwag naman sana feeling sad.
Okay, yan, no? Alam na ng mga students natin ang kanilang routine. So, yan. Si Nicole is feeling happy and feeling accomplished. Very good. So, Angela is feeling happy. The same with Gwyneth. And also, Gwyneth is feeling accomplished. Shasi is feeling accomplished as well as Jade. Ruth is feeling love, no? So, baka kaya feeling love si Ruth kasi tapos na siya lahat sa ating task. So, kung napansin nyo dyan sa ating emoticons, week 1 to 6 lang nung nilagay ko kasi yung week 7 natin ay introduction and continuation ng discussion natin for this week. So, wala akong inopen na task for week 7 kasi nandito yan sa week 8. So, anyway, keep on commenting your emoticons, no? Para makita namin ang inyong feelings for this today's lesson and makita namin ang inyong participation sa ating discussion. So, yan. Maraming bumate ng good afternoon. So, simulan natin kay Jean, followed by Angela, Nicole, Chassie, Jade, Gwyneth, Sandy, Umar, and Ruth. So, humahabol si Queen. So, I hope na excited ang ating mga students. Kagaya ko, kagaya namin ni Ma'am Nance kasi last synchronous class natin for quarter 3. Okay? So, dahil dyan, ano nga Ma'am Nance ang ating most essential learning competency?
Yan. Para sa ating last week, at last module na rin to, module 3, ang ating most essential learning competency ay show which constellations may be observed at different times using models. And we have specific objectives. Number 1, infer the arrangement of stars in a constellation does not change. And for number 2, observe that the position of the constellation changes in the course of the night.
Okay. So, objectives pa lang class, no? Nakaka-excite na ang ating discussion. And I know marami sa inyo ang interested din sa ating topic, especially yung mga lovers na celestial objects just like stars na sinimulang ituro sa atin ni Ma'am Hedwig last week. So, para hindi ko na patatagalin pa, no, ang inyong excitement dito sa ating lesson para ma-satisfy, tumaas palalo ang inyong understanding about constellations. So, of course, nag-prepare ng video lesson para sa atin si Ma'am Nancy at yan ay ating panoorin. So, I hope you learned a lot in this lesson. So, happy watching and learning, everyone!
Good day, grade 9 students. Welcome to another episode of Sci Amazing Lesson. This is your grade 9 teacher, Ma'am Nancy R. Centeno. Sit back and relax as we end Module 3 about stars and constellations. Long before the ancient people utilized the stars and planets to figure out when to plant and harvest their crops, they named the constellations and told stories about the heroes and gods, animals, and mythological creatures represented in the stars. Beside the entertainment factor, these stories about the stars help ancient storytellers teach both the young and the old, preserve their cultures, and instill moral values into tribes' citizens. The creation of astrological sign came from the Earth's earliest astronomers. In ancient Babylon, the astronomers kept track of the paths and movements of the planets. Most ancient civilizations believed that observing the movement of the planets could help to predict the future and determine the course of an individual's life would take.
Ako si Madam Patty.
Leo, huwag araw-arawin ang pagpapaganda, lalo't sa face mask, mukha'y di naman nakikita. Lucky number 8, yan ang dami ng modules na kailangan mo pang ipasa. Cancer, maswerte ang araw mo ngayon. Makakausap mo na sa wakas si crush sa araw ng iyong pagtututbrush.
What did the ancient people use stars for? Navigation, for sailing and travel. To identify seasons, when to plant and to harvest. Preserve the myths and traditions. Group the brighter stars into pattern called constellations.
What are the 88 constellations? The following elements constitute our constellations. 14 men and women, 9 birds, 19 land animals, 2 insects, 10 water creatures, 2 centaurs, 1 head of hair, 1 serpent, 1 dragon, 1 flying horse, 1 river, 29 inanimate objects, including scientific instruments. Ancient sailors used the stars to help guide them while they are at the sea. They looked to the sun's movement across the heavens to tell them their direction. Early astronomers realized that some constellations, such as the Big Dipper, were only seen in the northern part of the sky. The location of the North Pole Polaris helped travelers figure the direction they needed to head to reach their destination. As part of the Ursa Minor constellation, the Lesser Bear, Polaris sits above the northern planetary pole without moving too much, making it an excellent navigation tool. Like the Big Dipper of the northern sky, the Southern Cross indicates the location of the pole, and as such is often utilized by navigators. The longer bar of the cross points exactly toward the south pole of the sky, which some aviators and navigators have named the South Polar Pit, because unfortunately, it is not marked by any bright star. For most of human history, we have been wanderers. But around 7,000 to 10,000 years ago, tribes learned how to domesticate animals and cultivate simple crops. The birth of agriculture created a new need to keep track of time. Ancient people have to be aware of the cycles of season. It will be a matter of life and death. In order for them to eat, they had to know when to plant. When the rain comes, when the birds would migrate through the region, and when they would have to store food for the lean winter times. Braving the cold to stargaze in the winter is worth it. Here are the 7 constellations you can observe in the Northern Hemisphere during this season. Canis Major, Cetus, Eridanus, Gemini, Orion, Perseus, Taurus. 6 constellations visible from the Northern Hemisphere during the spring includes the following: Bootes, Cancer, Crater, Hydra, Leo, Virgo. Summer is another great time for stargazing. Here are 7 constellations that make up the Northern Hemisphere lining up in this season: Aquila, Cygnus, Hercules, Lyra, Ophiuchus, Sagittarius, Scorpius. Fall in the Northern Hemisphere season with the fewest constellation. Look out for this: Andromeda, Aquarius, Capricornus, Pegasus, Pisces. The Matigsalug Manobo of Bukidnon also shared their uses of stars and constellations. Local name Balatik. Month of appearance February. Related agricultural activity, starting of planting and setting of traps to protect the crops from animals. Western equivalent constellation, Orion's Belt. Gibang, local name. Month of appearance April and May. Related agricultural activity, and the planting season signifies rice harvest. Western equivalent constellation, Gemini. As the Earth rotates, the Sun, the Moon, and the planets travel on a set path through the sky known as the ecliptic. The list of 13 constellations they pass through are known as the stars of Shodak, meaning the cycle or the circle of little animals. The Shodak constellation names are Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Ophiuchus, and Sagittarius. Astrologers use 12 of these constellations as sign of zodiac, omitting Ophiuchus to make predictions. Unlike astronomy, astrology is not a science. Signs differ from the constellation, bearing only a loose reference to one another. The sign of Pisces, for instance, corresponds to the rise of the constellation of Aquarius. Ironically, if you are born under a particular sign, the constellation it is named for it is not visible at night. Instead, the sun is passing through it around the time of the year, making it a daytime constellation that cannot be seen. What are constellations? Constellations are a group of stars that appears to form a pattern or a picture. How are constellations named? Most of the constellation names we know came from the ancient Eastern, Greek, and Roman cultures. They identify clusters of stars as god, goddesses, animals, and objects of their stories. Asterism is a collection of stars in the sky that form some kind of recognizable pattern. There are no official asterism. You can make your own up. If I want to view my star all year round, which constellation do I choose? The answer is easy. Any circumpolar constellation. When you look to the stars, it is impossible not to be blown away by their splendor, or think about our place in that great big universe. From the northern hemisphere, there are at least 30 visible constellations. 5 of them can be seen all year round, while the others appear seasonally. A circumpolar constellation is a constellation that is situated around or inhabits in one of the Earth's poles. The northern pole constellations are visible all year round from the northern hemisphere, and the same for the constellations situated around the south pole. They are visible all year round from the southern hemisphere. What would be the apparent motion of the stars if 1. You were standing at the North Pole. 2. You were standing at the equator. 3. You were standing at the South Pole. The constellations on view depend on your position on the spinning globe of the Earth. Observers at the poles only ever see half of the stars in the sky. Observers in the equator see all the stars each year. I hope you have learned something new today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel, Das Manord Science, so you won't miss any video lesson. Again, I am your grade 9 teacher, Ma'am Nancy R. Centeno, and this is Science Matters, where learning never stops.
Yan. So, very, no, very outside the earth, no? Yung ating peg doon sa ating video lesson. So, na-excite ba kayo? At naging more interested ba kayo doon sa mga celestial objects na makikita sa outer space? So, thank you to Ma'am Nancy, no? Sa magandang video lesson and very creative video lesson na napanood natin today. And of course, naka-tune in din ang ating one of the master teachers ng grade ng Science Department, si Ma'am Mean. And shout out daw sa kanyang mga students from Mabolo, Lanite, Camagong, Molave, Mahogany, and Mangga. So we hope na watching kayo today. So ganun din kay Ashley na from Amugis, and Elisa, Desiree, Diane, Mars, and Prince. Yan, naka-tune in sila today. Ma'am Nance, meron ka po bang gustong batiin?
Yan. Shout out ko na rin, ma'am, ang ating mga bumidang students. Isa sa 9 Talisay, si Liza Losada, at isang aking anak sa Yakal, si Ken Nagata.
Okay, so ang galing ng mga students si Ma'am Nancy, no? Nakapag-participate sila doon sa video lesson. So sila yung nakita natin nandun sa bolang kristal ni Madam Patty.
Hello kay Madam Patty,
Yes.
nanonood sa bahay.
So si Madam Patty, yun yung anak ni Ma'am Nancy, no? Sing Pretty Lydia. Okay, so yan, let's summarize, no, the important concepts learned in the lesson. So let's start with the term constellation. So yes, Ma'am Nance?
Yan. Constellation is an area of the celestial sphere in which a group of visible stars form a perceived outline or pattern.
Okay. So, class, tingnan niyo yung model namin dito, no? Bukod sa amin ni Ma'am Nancy. Yan. So, meron kami ditong celestial sphere. So, lapit lang natin ng konti kay Ma'am Nancy. Yan. So, kung makikita nyo, no? Nasa loob yung Earth, yung globo. And then, itong bilog sa labas, yan yung model ng tinatawag natin na celestial sphere. So, para ma-visualize nyo kung ano nga ba yung sinasabi na ng mga astronomers na celestial sphere. Okay? So, ito ngayon yung ginagamit natin na model para ma-imagine, makita natin, no, kung paano nga ba ang position ng mga stars doon sa ating yan. Position ng mga stars, no, upon viewed from our position here on Earth. Okay? So, yan. For example, no, let's say ito ang North Pole. So, kung tayo ay nandun sa Earth, yung pwesto natin dito sa Philippines, so, ito ngayon yung mga stars na makikita natin. So, kasi ang globe natin ay nahahati sa Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere. Okay? So, yeah. Anyway, mas ma-explain namin to as we go on with the important concepts no here in our discussion. So, may add ka pa po, Ma'am Nance?
Ay, yung perception lang natin, yung tinatawag kasi natin na north, yan, sa Polaris na tinatawag natin, kung bakit ba nagkaroon ng tinatawag na circumpolar. So, ayan, para sinasabi, we always follow the north direction. So, syempre, yung mga observer dito sa Earth, especially yung mayroon na medyo nandito dito sa north circumpolar part. So, yun yung na-observe nila na tinatawag natin na north circumpolar. At syempre, on the other side, no, yun yung mga na-observe naman nila doon sa tinatawag nating south circumpolar.
Yes. So, kaya kung mapapansin yung class, no, may mga constellations na makikita lang sa northern part at makikita lang sa southern part. So, ibig sabihin, depende sa location natin sa Earth. So, kung tayo ay nakapwesto sa northern hemisphere, hindi natin makikita yung mga constellations na nasa southern hemisphere. Okay? So, vice versa to that. Okay? Kaya, yung mga constellations na nakikita natin, in reference sa bansa natin, yun yung mga nasa northern hemisphere. Okay? So, let's continue.
Yan. Yan. Meron tayong 88 ayan, recognized internationally na mga constellations. So originally, nagsimula siya dun sa mga tinatawag nating ancient constellation. There are around 48 of them. So by passing of the time, since 1930s, ayan na, start ng pag-recognize ng mga names nila. So nagkaroon ng mga additional na tinatawag natin naman ng mga modern constellations. So yung mga unang mga pangalan nila, they are from that of the human and mythological characters and creatures, especially ng mga ating mga Roman and what's the other, ano ma'am?
Mga mythological,
Roman
mythical.
and Greek.
Yes.
Roman and Greek names. So yung mga favorite nila na mga characters para in names, especially ginagamit di ba nila yan for storytelling and pag-identify ng mga cultures and traditions nila.
Baka maririnig din nila yan ma'am sa mga English literature na subjects nila. Yung mga gods eh. Gods and goddesses.
Nilang mga
Yeah. So basically, no, class, no, there are 88 official constellations. So sabi nga ni Ma'am Nancy kanina, nag-start yan sa 48. Then later on, until up to now, no, there are 88 official or recognized constellations. So hindi lahat ay tinatawag na constellation. So later explain namin yan. But officially, according to International Astronomical Union, there are 88 official constellations. And one example of it, yung pinakasikat sa lahat ay si Orion. So kung makikita nyo dito sa ating screen, no, yan si Orion. So he is considered the hunter sa mythological story, no. Kung mababasa nyo sa mga myths about stars or sa mga sa subject nyo sa English literature, malalaman nyo yung kwento niya ni Orion the Hunter. Anyway, that is one famous example of constellation. Nakikita din natin yan dito sa atin, no, every night. Okay? So next. Yan.
Yan. Asterism, kumbaga siya yung more identifiable group of stars. Okay? Not officially recognized. Sabi nga, pwede tayong magkaroon in specific na locality sa Philippines, dun nga sa mga Manobo tribes. So they also name some of that of the constellation. Especially yung pinakasikat nga na Orion, kung ibibigay natin as example, sa ibang countries, they have the asterism na tinatawag na Orion's Belt.
Yes. Yeah.
Pero sa atin, ang tawag natin dyan sa Pilipinas, especially dun sa mga local tribes natin, is the Balatic.
Opo. Okay? So, take note class asterism, it is not an official constellation. Bahagi lang si asterism ng isang constellation. Pero binigyan din ng pangalan. But still, it is not considered an official constellation. For example, yung sinabi kanina ni Ma'am Nancy na si Orion's Belt. So, ito po yan. Sa atin ay tinawag na Balatic. So, part siya ng Orion constellation, but since part siya, that is considered an asterism. So, another is what we call the Big Dipper, so which is part of the constellation Ursa Major. And we have here, ito naman ay hindi bahagi ng kahit anong constellation, no? Yung star nila, pag pinagdugtong-dugtong ay nakabuo ng asterism na tinawag nating summer triangle. For example, sa constellation na Deneb, sa constellation na Cygnus or Northern Cross rather, yan. Ang brightest star niya ay si Deneb, dumugtong sa brightest star ni constellation Lyra, na dumugtong din sa brightest star na ni constellation Aquila. So, yung tatlong yun ay tinawag nating summer triangle, but still they are not constellations, rather considered an asterism. So, hopefully ay malinaw sa inyo, no? The difference between a constellation and an asterism. Okay, so another information. Ayan.
The Shodak is the ring of constellations that the sun seems to pass through each year on Earth around its orbit. So yan, meron tayong tinatawag na 12 known horoscope constellations. Pero tatandaan natin na magkaiba ang constellation, Shodak constellation, doon sa tinatawag natin Shodak horoscope.
Yes. So, actually, Ma'am Nance, no, kung nagbabasa sila ng mga horoscope nila, ang pinagbatayan ng mga tinatawag nating horoscope ay itong tinatawag natin na zodiac constellations. Okay? Pero, in reality class, ilan nga po, Ma'am Nance, ang ating zodiac constellations?
So actually, merong 13 recognized na Shodak constellation. So yun nga, sila ang naging basis para sa yung mga early Babylons natin na mag-create yung tinatawag nilang prediction or way of telling yung future na isang tao base sa Shodak constellation na yun. At ang ginamit lang nila ay yung 12 maliban kay Ophiuchus.
Okay. So, class, kung astronomy ang magiging basis natin, no, there are actually 13 zodiac constellations at ang pang 13 doon ay si Ophiuchus. So, bakit tinanggal si Ophiuchus? Kasi sa astrology, yung mga horoscope na tinatawag natin, pinaniniwalaan ang number 13 ay malas. So, kaya tinanggal nila si Ophiuchus. Pero kung ikaw ay isang astronomer, scientifically based, no? Kung scientific ang magiging basis natin, 13 zodiac constellations, including Ophiuchus. So, anong meron kay zodiac constellations? Kung nakikita nyo dito sa ating animation, zodiac constellations, yan yung mga constellations kung saan dumadaan ang araw. So, yung ating sun, where our sun seems to pass through each year. So, as the earth orbits around it. Okay? Kaya kung titingnan nyo, ayan, iba't iba yung mga constellations nyo nagpapass doon sa ating sun. Kaya meron tayong 13 constellations. Pero kung horoscope ang pag-uusapan, 12 lang ang ginagamit na horoscope. Okay? Pero dito tayo, din science teachers kami, so syempre dito sa zodiac constellations, 13 ang meron tayo. So later papakita namin sa inyo, no, kung anong itsura ni Ophiuchus. Okay? Yan.
Yan. As we revolve around the sun, the nighttime Earth faces a different direction in the sky. At different months of the year, so we see different constellations. So ito, Ma'am Jo, seasons naman yung mga binabanggit natin.
Yes. So, kaya iba-iba class, no, yung mga constellations na nakikita natin per season. So, lalo sa ibang bansa na mayroong 4 seasons, winter, spring, summer, fall. Dahil, because of the so-called Earth's revolution around the sun. Yan, napindot ko. Yan. So, yan yung sinabi ni Ma'am Nancy. So, kung titignan nyo itong model, picture natin dito, no? So, pag nag-face si Earth dito, kunyari si Earth nandito sa position na to. So, syempre, pag nakaharap sa araw, yun ang umaga, yun nakatalikod, yun yung gabi. So, kung ano lang yung available constellation, yun ang makikita mo. Dun sa, season na yun. Pag lumipat ulit, umikot ulit, so another set of constellations. Ang reason nga dun, again, Ma'am Nance, is the revolution of
the Earth
around the sun.
So,
Okay?
parang quarterly.
Opo. Kaya wag kayong magtataka, no? Ala, bakit pag ganitong season nakikita ko tong constellation na to? That is because, that is a proof, no? That our Earth revolves around the sun. Again, Ma'am Nance, gaano katagal ang revolution ng Earth sa sun?
It takes 365 and 1/4.
Kasi naging meme, ano yan, naging meme sa Facebook, no? So again, no? Revolution of the Earth around the sun takes 365 days, no? And 365 and 1/4 days. Okay? So malinaw yan, class, no? Okay, so next. Yan, ito yung sinasabi kanina ni Ma'am Nancy na circumpolar constellations. So bakit nga po ulit, Ma'am Nancy, sila tinawag na circumpolar?
Ayan, circumpolar kasi kung observer ka ng northern part of the Earth, ma-observe mo siya all year round.
Yes.
Especially on the observing on the northern part, North Pole.
So, ibig sabihin, itong mga circumpolar constellations na to, any time of the year ay visible. So, makikita natin sila kahit ano pang buwan, no, sa buong isang taon. Bakit? Because they are located near the North Pole. Parang itong sa model ni Ma'am Nancy, no? Kung ito yung North Pole, pag inikot ni Ma'am Nancy yung, pag umiikot yung Earth, so tingnan nyo yung tuktok, yung malapit na, mga constellations na malapit dito, yun at yun pa rin ang nakikita. Kaya tinawag na circumpolar constellations. Pero kung nandito ka sa part na to, of course, kunyari nandito yung sunlight. So, dito ay araw, dito ay gabi. So, dito mo lang makikita yung constellations kasi masyadong maliwanag doon. Though the stars are there, the constellations are there, kaya lang hindi siya visible kasi masyadong maliwanag. So, ang makikita mo lang ay yung mga nandito sa part na gabi. Okay? Pero kung nandito naman ang view mo at malapit ka sa North Pole, of course, all year round, makikita mo yung mga tinatawag nating circumpolar constellations. Ano-ano nga ba yun, Ma'am Nas?
Yan, at madali silang hanapin, ma'am, kasi nakapaikot or nakalatag sila malapit or nasasakop yung tinatawag nating Polaris or the North Star. So, ang Polaris nga pala, parang reference natin, makikita siya lagi sa pinakadulo ng Ursa Minor, o yung little bear na tinatawag. So, pag nakita niyo na yung pinakamaliwanag na star na tinatawag na Polaris, so nakapaligid sa kanya yan, si Cassiopeia, si Cepheus, si Draco, si Ursa Major, at si Ursa Minor.
Yes. So, yan yung ating mga circumpolar constellations. Okay? So, dahil dyan, no, meron kaming app dito, class. Yeah, anyway, dagdag ko lang to, no? So, ito yung actual photo to, class, actual photo taken by one of our science teachers, kay Sir Nick Reyes, na nakuhanan niya ng picture yung ating Milky Way galaxy. So, etong nasa left side, nakataligod si Sir Nick, mahihayin siya. So, ito ay shot niya sa Bicol. So, nagpunta siya sa Bicol at dahil mababa ang air pollution, na kuhanan ng magandang picture ang ating Milky Way galaxy. Dito naman, class, so nasa right side nyo, yan ay picture lang din ng Milky Way galaxy diyan sa bahay namin sa may South Garden. Imagine, no, nasa may South Garden lang, makikita ang Milky Way galaxy. Kaya kung talagang lover ka ng astronomy, no, sensitive yung eyes mo sa mga possible celestial objects, no. Kasi pero ako hindi, dahil malabo mata ko, hindi siya visible sa mga mata ko. Okay? So anyway, thank you dun sa photo ni Sir Nick. So dahil diyan, i-share lang namin sa inyo yung isang app na ginagamit, no, namin. Konting lang naman to. Discussion. So, saan na ba yun?
Pwede silang mag-download yan, ma'am, sa kanilang mga Android cellphone or kung may laptop sila.
Yes. So, available to. So, meron kami sa cellphone, meron kami sa laptop. For free naman to, Ma'am Nance, no?
Constellarium.
So, this is Stellarium. Okay? So, real time to, class. Kung makikita nyo sa screen nyo, no? Yan ay, anong oras na ba? Ang day to day ay March 29 at bakit 1:15 to?
Late ang oras na rin.
Ano? Yung Ikaw? Yan.
Naiba na ang oras.
Oo, na iba yung oras. Exit ka. So, taglit lang class ha. Nahiya yata sa inyo yung app ko. So, dahil dyan, i-exit lang ako. Then, mag-open ako ng Stellarium. Meron pang isa. Saglit. Tab. So, save ganun din. 116. So, exit lang natin. Kinabahan yata yung app namin sa inyo. Ay, mali ako. So, Stellarium. Yan. So, kalma lang tayo para hindi kabahan yung app natin, no? So, anyway, katulad ng sinabi ni Ma'am Nance, you can download this, no, through your phone or through your laptop. Yan. So, mali yata yung oras ko. Okay? Pero anyway, ito ay 3:29. So, today, March 29. So, yan. Ito ang ating screen today. Yan. So, we have here the different directions, no? North, south, east, west. So, pakita lang natin sa kanila, Ma'am Nance, no? Yung ilang important concepts na tinuro natin kanina. So, yan. So, share natin yung lagyan natin ng grid. So, anyway, lagyan natin ng lines para makita nila yung mga constellations. So, meron din siyang button na nilalagyan ng name, yung mga constellations. Yan, katulad ng sinabi ni Ma'am Nancy kanina. So, meron tayong Ursa Minor, Draco, Ursa Major, which are examples of circumpolar constellations. And para mas ma-appreciate nyo, lagyan natin ng image. Yun. Yun. Ito na si Ursa Major. Tapos si Ursa Minor. Okay? So, nakita nyo ba, students? Yan. So, ganyan ang itsura ng ating mga constellations, no? Pag ginamit natin yung Stellarium na app. Okay? So, yan. Kung pwede nating pag gabi kasi class, syempre ang mga constellations natin ay lumulubog, no? So, they rise in the east, tama ba, Ma'am Nance, no? And they sets in west. So, ito yung gawin nating pag tinanggal yung lupa, so ibig sabihin yung hindi natin nakikita, nakalubog yun. Okay? So, pwede natin tanggalin yung lupa dito eh. So, malakas yung power namin dito ni Ma'am Nancy. So, pag tinanggal natin yung lupa, makikita natin yung mga constellations na nakalubog. So, nasa ilalim. And they are nag-view naman sa ibang lugar. Or, pwede din naman nating ibalik. And then, pwede nating paliwanagin. Or, pwede rin natin naman itong i-advance ang oras. Okay? So, i-advance natin ng konti ang oras. At ang araw, di ba, malakas yung kapangyarihan namin dito ni Ma'am Nancy. Yan, makikita nyo class. So, bilisan natin ng konti, baka bukas tayo matapos. Yan, oops. Nakita nyo sumikat yung araw. So, saan banda sumikat yung araw? So, yan. So, sumikat yung araw sa east, then, lulubog sa west. Pansinin nyo, observe nyo. Forward ulit natin. Bilis natin ng konti.
So, going to west.
Yan, going to west. So, nakita nyo class, no? That all, ang sun natin, that is a star. So, kung ang sun natin ay sumisikat sa east at lumulubog sa west, ganun din yung other constellations. So, ito sa aking, still, March 29 pa rin. So, kung itutuloy natin, makikita nyo ang inyong paglubog. Ay! Teka, sorry, bumaligtad. Yan. Ayan na yung ating araw. Okay? So, lilipat na tayo ng araw. So, March 29, ayan, ito na yung ating constellations mamayang March 30. Okay? Bukas, March 30, ng 2 a.m. Diba? So, kayang i-advance ang oras at kayang ibalik ang oras dito sa app na to. So, makikita natin dito yung positions ng ating constellations, kung anong araw, anong oras. Okay? At yung sinasabi naman natin na circumpolar stars, so, lagyan natin ng grid. Yun. So, ito yung grid natin, no? Yung center. So, yan.
Polaris.
Yung Polaris. Pwede natin i-search si Polaris. So, Polaris. So, Ursa Maya. Yun. Ito na mismong gitna na to na umiilaw. Tama ba ako, Ma'am? Yan. So, nakita niyo si Polaris. Yan ang ating North Star. Okay? Papaikutin ko lang, no? I-advance ko lang yung oras. Tapos, i-observe niyo yung galaw ng mga circumpolar constellations. Yan. So, si Ursa Minor, andito pa rin. Si Draco, si Cepheus, si Cassiopeia. Tapos, habang umiikot lang siya, andun at andun pa rin yung mga circumpolar constellations. Kaya all year round sila ay available, sila ay makikita natin. Okay? So, yan ha, napatunayan na namin sa inyo mga circumpolar constellations.
Nilagang mundo
Oo. Actually, Ma'am Nance, nasa April 1 na to eh. So, nasa April 1 na. And lastly, meron tayong tinatawag na alignment of planets, no? Mangyayari ngayong April 20, 2022. So, papakita ko lang sa inyo na yan ay mangyayari nga talaga. So, parang ano lang ako dito, no? Manghuhula. Saan na ba yun? Yan. Advance ko lang ng konti yung date. So, date and time tayo. Date. Nahiya na siya. Yan. April 20. Mainit na. Yan. April 20. And then, mga madaling araw yun mag-view sa atin. So, mga, ano yan, 4 a.m. Tama ba ka? Pababa pa lang. Yan. And then, i-search natin si nga ba i-search natin? Let's say Mars. Para makakita na agad natin ang mga planets. Yun, nasa ilalim eh. So, tatanggalin ko lang ng konti, tatanggalin ko lang yung lupa. Yun. So, kung makikita nyo class, no? Di pala pwedeng tanggalin yung lupa, hindi pa siya visible. So, tataas natin yung oras. 5. Ayun. Mga 5:20, naka-align na si Saturn, Mars, Venus. And then, sa ilalim niyan, kung medyo itataas pa natin yung oras, yan, maliwanag na. Sa atin kasi class, sa April 20, ang sunrise ay 5:39 a.m. So, by 5 a.m., maliwanag na yung sky. Baka medyo mahirapan na tayong mag-view, no? But anyway, mangyayari to, no? So, hindi to prediction class, no? This will happen on April 20. And these are the planets that will align on April 20. So, we can see here, Saturn, Mars, Venus, Jupiter. Kung tatanggalin natin yung lupa, naandyan din sila na, todo na yon. 4. So, Saturn, Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. Okay? So, around 6:21 a.m. Kaya lang baka masakit na to sa mata, hindi na natin masyado makita. Okay? So, yan. We hope nag-enjoy kayo sa discussion natin today. You want to add more, Ma'am Nance?
Talagang download nyo to at talagang magkaroon kayo ng mga activity na paggagamitan nyo to. Bukod pa dyan, kaya niya syempre i-predict tuloy. Kaya niyang ibalik sa atin yung mga nangyari din sa celestial activities natin, kahit yung mga eclipses ng mga nakaraan, ng mga panahon na ipapakita niya ulit yan. By modify lang natin yung time and year.
Pero disclaimer ha, hindi kami nagpo-promote ng app na to. Ito lang, actually share lang din namin sa inyo yung ginagamit namin. Okay? Para makatulong sa ating discussion. So dahil dyan, we hope na appreciate nyo ang ating discussion today. So, thank you so much Ma'am Nancy sa pagsama sa ating mga students, no, para matutunan nila ang mga important concepts about constellations. So again, I am Ma'am Janice Reyes.
I am Ma'am Nancy R. Centeno.
So only here at
Science Matters,
where learning never stops. Paalam!